But there we go. But is anything else actually wrong with the UK's current first-past-the-post system? And, of course, what would reform look like? Well, joining us now is Owen Winter, founder of Make Votes Matter. Thank you very much for joining us. OK, right, so, first-past-the-post, does it work for you or not?
Absolutely not. So first-past-the-post kind of looks simple on the surface. You have local constituencies that elect MPs, but in reality, it massively warps our political system. Because only the winner in each constituency is elected, no matter how many votes they got, millions of votes are effectively wasted. If you vote for a losing candidate, your vote doesn't go to the final result. And if you even vote for the winning candidate and they get, one of those huge majorities, your vote is effectively wasted. And at the 2019 general election, 71% of votes were wasted in that way. And what this means is it cuts millions of people out from participating in politics. If you don't live in one of those marginal constituencies, if you vote for a party other than the winner in your area, effectively you have no representation. And that has a huge effect on how politicians, choose their policies, decide what to do. It means instead of looking after the whole country, they're basically just thinking about this tiny number of swing voters in marginal constituencies. And Make Votes Matter thinks that's totally wrong. We need a proportional system where if a party gets 10% of the votes, they get 10% or roughly in Parliament, where everyone has a voice.
Yeah, and I did want to ask you, though, is your campaign, so to speak, futile? Because we did have a referendum on alternative voting system in 2011, and it was wholeheartedly rejected. 32% of people said they wanted it. That's under a third of people. So people don't want it, do they?
Well, AV isn't a proportional system. I think Nick Clegg at the time even called it a miserable little compromise. It's not what we're asking for. We want a fully proportional system. Also, that was 11 years ago. Things move on so fast in politics these days. We've had Brexit, we've had a number of different prime ministers, and really we've had a decline in trust in democracy and, this rise in dissatisfaction because people feel like they're being kind of cut out of the political system, ignored. And so I think if there were a referendum today on a truly proportional system, we'd see something totally different.
Can I just ask you this, though? On that point, can I just ask you this? Nicole from Scarborough says, sorry, but first past the post gives clear and strong election winners. What do people want? 40 parties never agreeing on anything, getting anything done. Our politics is divisive enough with two, let alone more. What would you say to Nicole?
Well, I mean, the evidence is in the last few years of government, we haven't had strong, decisive governments. We've had governments that stumble from scandal to scandal and basically always seem like they're on the edge of collapse. Whereas a proportional system would mean that politicians actually have to work together to deliver on their decisions. So in the long run, you'd have much more kind of consensual decision-making, which leads to policies that are much more embedded, rather than this wild swinging from one government to another that has absolute power but not much idea what to do with it. And also the evidence from around the world, you have to remember the vast majority of developed democracies use some form of proportional system, and most of them have very stable government. I'm thinking, for example, of Angela Merkel in Germany. You can't argue that she didn't have a kind of stable grip on the political system there. And that most countries also don't have loads of political parties.
Oh, all right, sorry to interrupt. I know there's loads to get stuck into on this, Owen, which just means one thing and one thing only. We'll have to have you back on to talk about it even more. Owen Winter there of Make Votes Matter. Now,